Welcome back to the Stoic Quotient. In our previous video, we began exploring the surprising similarities between Islam, Christianity, and Stoicism. We delved into patience, treating others well, and facing adversity. Today, we continue our journey by uncovering more shared wisdom from these three influential belief systems. If you haven't watched the first part, I encourage you to do so. But don't worry if you're joining us for the first time. Each topic stands on its own while contributing to our larger exploration. Let's dive into our first topic for today, the virtue of humility. Chapter 1: Humility. Humility. It's a quality often praised but frequently misunderstood. Far from being a sign of weakness or self-deprecation, true humility involves having an accurate view of oneself and one's place in the world. So, how do Islam, Christianity, and Stoicism approach this vital virtue? In the Quran, we find this powerful verse: "And do not turn your cheek in scorn toward people, and do not walk through the earth exultantly. Indeed, Allah does not like everyone self-deluded and boastful." This teaching reminds Muslims to remain humble, rejecting arrogance and self-importance. Turning to Christianity, we see humility emphasized throughout the New Testament. Jesus taught, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Matthew 5 verse 5. This beatitude highlights the value of meekness and humility, illustrating that true greatness comes from a humble spirit and a willingness to serve others. In Stoicism, humility is similarly valued but framed through a philosophical lens. Stoics believe in accepting the limits of our control and understanding our place within the vast cosmos. As Epictetus said, "It is not events that disturb people, it is their judgments concerning them." This perspective encourages individuals to maintain humility by focusing on their own responses and attitudes rather than seeking to dominate or control external circumstances. Despite their different contexts and expressions, these teachings converge on a common truth: humility is about recognizing and accepting our limitations, fostering respect for others, and embracing a mindset of growth rather than self-aggrandizement. Stay tuned as we explore more shared wisdom from Islam, Christianity, and Stoicism in our next video. Until then, reflect on how humility plays a role in your own life and how these perspectives can guide you toward a more balanced and grounded approach. Avoiding arrogance and excessive pride. Christianity echoes this sentiment in the Gospel of Luke: "For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." This paradoxical statement suggests that true greatness comes through humility, not self-promotion. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus offers insight: it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. This perspective highlights how humility opens the door to learning and growth. Think about a time when you encountered someone genuinely humble. How did they make you feel? What impact did their humility have on those around them? These teachings all point to a profound truth: true strength and wisdom often manifest in humility. They suggest that an accurate self-assessment, openness to learning, and respect for others are key components of a well-lived life. But why is humility so important across these belief systems? Perhaps because they recognize the dangers of unchecked ego and the beauty of a life lived in harmony with others and the world around us. Consider the story of Prophet Muhammad, who despite his status as a revered leader lived and treated everyone regardless of their social standing respectfully. Or think of Jesus washing his disciples' feet, a task usually reserved for servants, demonstrating that true leadership comes through service and humility. The Stoic perspective adds another layer to this understanding. Stoicism naturally cultivates a sense of humility by recognizing our place in the vastness of the universe and the limits of our knowledge. In our modern world, where self-promotion and ego often seem to Rule these ancient teachings offer a refreshing alternative. They remind us that true confidence doesn't require boasting, and that strength can be found in acknowledging our limitations. So what practical wisdom can we gain from these shared teachings on humility? First, they encourage us to be open to learning from others, recognizing that we don't have Pakistan's largest welfare organization through decades of tireless work, or think of the countless unsung heroes who day after day choose to act with kindness, integrity, and compassion, slowly but surely making the world a better place. These examples show us that actions over words aren't about grand gestures or public recognition. It's about the quiet, consistent choice to do what's right, to help where we can, and to live out our values in tangible ways. As we navigate our daily lives, may we carry this wisdom with us. Let it remind us that every interaction and decision is an opportunity to put our beliefs into action. In doing so, we align our lives more closely with our ideals and become a force for positive change in the world around us. In prioritizing actions over words, we transform abstract principles into lived reality, bridging the gap between what we say we believe and how we live. Chapter 3: Forgiveness. Music. In exploring shared wisdom, we now turn to a topic that challenges and transforms us: forgiveness. This powerful act has the potential to heal wounds, restore relationships, and free us from the burden of resentment. Let's see how Islam, Christianity, and Stoicism approach this profound human experience. We find this enlightening verse in the Quran: let them pardon and overlook. Would you not like that Allah should forgive you? This teaching links our forgiveness of others to divine forgiveness, encouraging Muslims to extend mercy as they hope to receive it. Christianity places forgiveness at the core of its message. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus teaches, "Forgive, and you will be forgiven." This mirrors the Islamic perspective, connecting our willingness to forgive others with our receipt of forgiveness. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius offers a different but complementary view. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. This reframes forgiveness not as a weakness, but as a form of moral victory and self-improvement. Think about a time when you forgave someone who wronged you, or when someone forgave you. How did it feel? What impact did it have on you and your relationship? These teachings all point to a profound truth: forgiveness can liberate both the forgiver and the forgiven. They suggest letting go of resentment and extending mercy can lead to personal peace and social harmony. But why is forgiveness so emphasized across these belief systems? Perhaps because they recognize the destructive power of holding on to anger and the transformative potential of letting it go. Consider the story of Prophet Muhammad forgiving the people of Mecca who had persecuted him and his followers for years, or think of Jesus asking for forgiveness for those who crucified him. These examples show the radical, world-changing power of forgiveness in action. The Stoic perspective adds another layer to this understanding by viewing wrongdoings as stemming from ignorance rather than malice. Stoicism offers a pathway to forgiveness through understanding and empathy. In our modern world, where cycles of revenge and retaliation often dominate headlines, these ancient teachings offer a challenging but hopeful alternative. So, what practical wisdom can we glean from these shared teachings on forgiveness? First, they encourage us to see forgiveness as a gift we give ourselves, freeing us from the burden of resentment and anger. Second, they invite us to empathize with those who wrong us, recognizing our shared human fallibility. Third, they remind us that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing harmful actions, but choosing to release those actions hold on us. Consider the story of Nelson Mandela, who emerged from 27 years of imprisonment without bitterness, choosing reconciliation over revenge. Or think of the Amish community that forgave and reached out to the family of a man who shot several of their children. These examples show us the transformative power of forgiveness in even the most challenging circumstances. As we navigate our relationships and inevitable conflicts, may we carry this wisdom with us. Let it remind us that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a source of strength. It's a choice we make often again and again to prioritize is healing over hurt. Understanding over anger and practicing forgiveness, we free ourselves from the prison of resentment and open doors to reconciliation and peace in our communities and our world as we delve deeper into the shared chapter for the impermanence of worldly things. Wisdom of Islam, Christianity, and Stoicism. We encounter a theme that runs like a thread through all three traditions: the recognition of life's impermanence and the transient nature of worldly possessions and status. This understanding, far from being depressing, can actually be liberating and lead to a more meaningful, focused life. Let's explore how these three belief systems approach this profound truth. In the Quran, we find this stark reminder: every soul will taste death. This simple yet powerful statement encapsulates the Islamic view on the temporary nature of our earthly existence. It's complemented by numerous other verses that emphasize the fleeting nature of worldly pleasures and the importance of focusing on eternal values. Christianity echoes this sentiment in the Gospel of Matthew: do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. This teaching encourages followers to invest in spiritual wealth rather than perishable material possessions. The Stoic philosophers said all that exists is changeable, transient, and destined to pass away. This perspective is central to Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes accepting the natural flow of life and detaching oneself from external circumstances. Reflect on a time when you experienced a significant change in your life, perhaps the loss of a job, the end of a relationship, or a move to a new place. How did this experience shape your understanding of impermanence? These teachings all point to a profound truth: nothing in this material world lasts forever. They suggest that recognizing this impermanence can help us prioritize what truly matters and find peace amidst life's constant changes. But why do these diverse belief systems place such emphasis on acknowledging impermanence? Perhaps because they recognize that attachment to temporary things is a significant source of human suffering. By accepting the transient nature of life, we can cultivate resilience, gratitude, and a focus on timeless values. Consider the Islamic practice of zakat, which requires giving a portion of one's wealth to those in need. This helps people experiencing poverty and reminds the giver of the temporary nature of material possessions. Or think of the Christian concept of storing up treasures in heaven through acts of kindness and spiritual growth. These practices help shift focus from the temporary to the eternal. The Stoic perspective adds another layer to this understanding by